Welcome to Operation Successful Transition. In this podcast, my guests and I will be talking about the 4 pillars of housing, work, benefits, and mental health to open doors for veterans and connect you with the people you need to meet. We deeply appreciate your service and sacrifice and hope to help make your transition back to civilian life smoother. Your success is important. You are important. Howdy, everybody. Sherry Eccles here. Welcome back to another episode of Operation Successful Transition. I'm so excited today to introduce to you my dear friend, Dr. Leithea Williams. She's a 16-year veteran of the United States Air Force. She worked as a budget analyst, a financial manager, a curriculum designer, an instructor, and various other additional duties. She's the owner and principal of Emergent Life Skills and Education Consulting, located in College Park, Georgia, where she functions as a transitional coach for teens and young adults. Her main focus is teens aging out of foster care, neurodivergent teens and young adults, and juvenile offenders. Her main objective is to prepare them for adulthood by using soft skills and life skills coaching to get them ready for college, independent living, and the professional environment. Excuse me. Dr. Williams sits on the board of directors with Abdullam. Did I say that right? Or did I do it wrong? Abdullam Ministries, and is one of the co-founders of Birthright by Legacy, a youth program in College Park, Georgia. Welcome, Dr. Leithea. How are you today?
Oh, thank you. I am great, and I appreciate you having me today.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. So good to see your face.
Great welcome. Thank you.
Leithea is part of the entrepreneurship boot camp for veterans at Texas A&M. That's how we came to meet, and love this girl. She's doing such great things. So tell us, what inspired you to start working with the neurodivergent teens? What caused you to go down this whole avenue?
I started out first with kids aging out of foster care because I volunteered as a CASA, court advocate special appointed by the court system. First, I started in Nebraska, and then I continued in Texas. And I worked with teenagers, babies, all different ages. But I realized that as the teenagers aged out, if they didn't have a plan for college, they simply ended up on their own, on the streets.
Yeah.
Nothing was happening for them. So it started there. I needed to do something else besides volunteering as a CASA to get them ready for adulthood, because they were just like a ship without a rudder.
Yeah, I've had several friends who went through foster care and other people that I've known of. And boy, when they turn 18, they're out, right? And
yep, they're out.
They need help. They need supplies. They need preparation. They need mentoring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And unfortunately, if they don't have a foster support system that tells them about the resources, they really turn to the streets. They turn to drugs, they turn to crime. And the ones who don't want to, they end up doing minimum wage jobs. And that's not a living wage. What can you do with a minimum wage job? Really
nothing.
Right. So it started there. So I started the life skills coaching just for that. But I ended up falling into the neurodivergent coaching because someone asked me. A lady with her own company, a tutor company, asked me to help out. She just simply said, hey, we have a few more clients and we need some assistance. Can you help us? And I said, sure. I mean, coaching is coaching, right?
Yeah.
I was wrong. It's not.
But everything you do opens doors for you. So
yes. And I met my first neurodivergent client and I fell in love with him.
Oh, sweet.
Loved him. And so it evolved. Instead of just looking at one population of young people, it evolved into another population. And then I started talking to my local politicians. I started going to meetings and, youth events, and I started meeting the juvenile offenders. These are kids who I made a little mistake. I did something I know I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry. I want to do more than just be seen as a kid who made a mistake.
Yeah.
So I fell into that as well. And I said, coaching for teens is what I want to do. It's not just a job, it's a passion. This is what I want to do for all the kids out there who want to do more, who want to be seen, who want to be heard, who want to be recognized. And so that's how I ended up here.
That's awesome that you're giving them this mentorship to put them on a good trajectory for a productive and happy life, rather than cycling in and out of any systems or prisons or just bad situations with drugs and early unwanted pregnancies and, you know, like all the kinds of troubles that people can get into. I love what you're doing with the kids. I think it's just admirable. I'm a board member for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that's, you know, one-on-one mentoring. So it's not exactly what you do, but it's still the same idea of bringing people a new idea of what life can be, and just giving them that mentorship. So yeah. So like, how are you kind of getting the word out in your area to reach these teenagers? How are you reaching them?
For one, I'm pretty big with attending my city council meetings. It's very important not only to be like, hey, I'm part of the small business network, but it's also important to say, I give back. So this is where the Birthright by Legacy program came in terms of saying there's more to Emergent Life Skills than just making money. There's the give back portion.
Yeah.
So even though I do want to make money, I'm not going to hide. I do want to earn a living. I want to make money. I want to be paid for what I do. There's also the social responsibility portion of the business where I give back, I give, and I believe in give to receive. So if I'm putting the word out as a socially responsible small business, then people will see that I'm not just in it to make money, but there's a caring aspect to the business side of it. So I attend in College Park, I attend stuff like Kids Fest, where there's a back to school event for kids and their parents to come in, receive school supplies, as well as to have fun. So there's rock climbing, there's, petting zoo, and I'll become a part of that. I'll sponsor one of the nonprofits and have stuff for them like Lego blocks for the kids to come in and build stuff, and they take those blocks home. So that's how I get the word out about who I am, what I do, and also be socially responsible to my community.
Yeah, I love that. One of my coaches says, if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. And just by helping other people is something that makes us feel good, and gives us all those good feelings and hormones and stuff. That's awesome. So what am I not asking about your company and what you do? What am I missing? Let's sweep out all the corners and tell people about it. Maybe, is there a story of someone that you've helped that had great success?
Oh, yes, there is. Way back in the beginning, when we started both Emergent and Birthright, there was a young man. He came from, I think it's Ohio. I may get all my O's mixed up, my Iowas and my Ohio's mixed up.
It's fine.
But it was somewhere there. He'd been living with his mom for a couple of years in hotels. So it wasn't a stable environment. And his dad got him, brought him into the Metro Atlanta area to live with him and his stepmom. He came to our program and he started attending an alternative high school because he had years to catch up. He was 17 at the time. He had many years to catch up. So he started his high school program and he came into Birthright, where I also do coaching for the teens. And as he came in, my job was to find out, what is it you want to do? First question, you're 17, you don't really have a lot of time left in high school. What do you want to do? And he had two things. He wanted to be, one, a pilot, or go into real estate. And so as part of the program, the options were open to him. We found him mentors in both industries and gave him the opportunity to actually go up in a private plane with a pilot to see how things worked. Yes. He went and he interned for a real estate broker to see how that area worked as well. Both people loved him. And so he had a choice. Where do you want to go? And he chose real estate. He went, he interned, he worked. The real estate broker loved him so much, he paid for his real estate exam.
How sweet. Nice. Well, and if you're
Yep.
a realtor, you can get your pilot's license on the side, still do both
Yes.
things, right?
Yep. And that was when he was 17. By the time he turned 19, he'd taken his exam, passed, graduated from school, from his alternative high school, bought himself a little car. And he is one of our success stories because he could have, at 17, started at alternative high school and just kept cycling through. He could have failed over and over every year and then just given up. But because we worked with him, we didn't just say, you need to graduate high school. We literally asked him, what do you want to do? Gave him the experiences so that he could choose, make an informed decision. And then we also gave him a great support system so that he had the opportunity to reach back.
Yeah.
So he was in our program at 17. He came back at 18, came back at 19, and he constantly had the opportunity to reach back, call us, email, to ask questions, because that's what we're open to, asking questions, because they're teenagers, they think they know it all. But if you open the door, leave the door open. If you have questions, just ask. Make it a safe space for them.
Yeah, support and accountability is what that follow-up kind of thing is. And to have a group that you can stay a part of forever, that's awesome, because eventually he's going to turn into a mentor and help other people. Your touch is going to expand. So that's an amazing story, and I'm really, really happy for him. Being in real estate, I know how much fun it can be. It can also be stressful, but I'm happy for him that he has a great mentor and a great place now. I know, like, most people probably understand what this word means, but some might not. So could you tell us what neurodivergent means?
All right, neurodivergent, it's all about my interpretation, thinking differently. They're not neurotypical, which is another word for what people would say normal, but I'm going to say neurotypical, thinking differently. So it's your, people with ADHD, autism, ADD. They're not they don't process things the same way we process things. And that doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean that there's a deficit. It just means different. So they may need a little more time and a little more patience and a little more empathy from the rest of us in terms of giving them some space to operate. Yeah. So that's neurodiverse for me.
Okay. And it sounds like you adapt your style to the kid, because everybody learns a little differently, and everyone's going to respond differently to questions. Like, I love that you asked that one simple question of the boy that you told us about, what do you want to do? That reaches into them and gets into their, I'm sure not everybody asks them, like you say, they're telling him what he needs to do instead of asking him what he wants to do. That's such a huge mindset shift for a kid, instead of going, no, I don't want to do those things, to what I want to do. It's a great shift to something positive. So are you are in the Atlanta area. Do you mainly just do like face-to-face and local teenage help, or do you have like an online community where if somebody wanted to get in and get some coaching and some mentorship, that they could sign up with you and, get some help?
Yeah.
Nationwide.
So I'm hybrid.
Okay.
For the Metro Atlanta folks, I can go to them, or they can come to me, or we can do it online, because now we're living a world where everything's online. You try to make it convenient as well. Yeah. So yes, I have a website, emergentlifeskills.com, where you go out, you can make an appointment on the calendar. And I also offer people 20 minutes of complimentary time. So if you're not sure, we do a test run, so to speak. So yeah, I do a hybrid version of coaching.
Okay, so if you are a foster parent about to age someone out, or if you just know somebody who's kind of going through this, or someone who needs a little bit of handholding or mentorship or a little bit of help in this way, please do share this website with them. Dr. Williams is amazing, as you can see, and I'm sure you're going to have so much success with so many people, and just want to be able to get the word out to the people who actually need you, and get that extra attention that they need. So
Yeah.
the website is the way, right?
It's the way. There's phone numbers, a website, Facebook, Instagram. I try to hit everywhere I think people are.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's all Emergent Life Skills,
Yes.
Emergent Life Skills. Okay.
Emergent Life Skills.
Well, that's great. So what, I don't know, what's your kind of next step? What's your next goal with your company? What's your next little expansion, or your next, I don't know, next thing that you want to cross? You know what I mean? What's the next thing you're hoping to achieve? There we go.
My next bridge. That's my next
Yes.
bridge.
There you go.
I actually, I would love to not just work locally. My first Facebook Live I ever did, it ended up in Ghana. I live streamed all the way to Ghana, and I would love that again. I would
Wow.
love to work internationally. And because we're a techno world, I do believe that technology can be our friend. So if I can coach kids, young adults from across the world, that would be a big, massive dream. I would love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's why I'm online now. I will be an online presence for as long as I can.
Absolutely. That's where kids are these days, and I suppose, maybe these kids who are in foster care and come out of it don't have cell phones or computers. I don't know how we would
Mhm.
reach them, but surely there's someone they could get with that would help let them use it. Or I don't know if libraries let you use computers for things like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
might be another way, going to a library or some kind of internet
Mhm.
cafe
Mhm.
where they might have a computer you could get on. So there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. If you need the help,
There's a way.
keep
Yeah.
at it till you find it. And I love that
Mhm.
international aspect of it. Yeah. And like I
Mhm.
say, young people are all about the computer and online. So that's where things are these days. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. So next, I'd love to talk about your transition from being in the military to your civilian life. What kind of landmines did you find, and how did you overcome them? How did you get to this space of peace and progress that you're in right now?
All right. So one of the landmines would be, it started just being being in the military. People like me, and I'll tell you who people like me are. We're unicorns, and that is a single woman, no kids, and you transition, but you don't return home. You choose to live away from family. So you're a unicorn. You're different. You're special, and people hardly see you.
Yes.
You're a myth, right? So that's what I considered myself when I left the military, a unicorn. And it was really tough because I made the choice not to move back. I'm from New Jersey, and I made the choice not to move back to Jersey. Um, I retired in San Antonio, and I only stayed there for 1 year after retirement because I was trying to figure out where did I want to go. I chose Atlanta because it wasn't as close to New Jersey as New Jersey, and it wasn't as far away as Texas, right?
Yeah. Kind of halfway,
So
sort of.
exactly, it's just right there. It's just good spot. So I became sort of isolated, right? I didn't have a military community in Atlanta. I retired in Texas, great military community, just the entire state of Texas.
Yeah.
You could throw a pebble and you hit somebody who was in the military.
Right.
It's
I
not
always
hard.
say you can't swing a cat without hitting a veteran
It's not
somewhere.
hard. But I moved to Atlanta and it was just desolate. There was nobody here that I could relate to. So that was the first bump. I had to get online and join Facebook groups. And I found one called Georgia Military Women.
Ah, sweet.
Amazing women, just wonderful women. And I started attending certain events. You know, you pick and choose what works for you. I started attending events. I met other women, found out what we had in common. And so it became a little easier. I was also going to school. So that gave me structure, because the military is all about structure. So
Yes.
I still needed a little bit of that. And being in school was good. It was really good because my brain, my rigid lifestyle, like I still needed something to help me transition to civilian life. And so being in school it was actually, I think for me, it was really, really life-saving, because moving to Atlanta, being by yourself and not having structure, it probably could have gone really bad for me.
Yeah.
But having that school rigidity was needed for a while. It wasn't going to last forever, but I needed it just for that little bit of time.
It
Because
gives you that structure to make it over that hump, but it's
yes,
also giving you equity in your own life because you're getting this
yeah,
education that you
mhm,
can use later. And now that you've been in the military a while, you have some life experience, so you know
yeah,
more what you're passionate about to go into school about something you're really interested in. So it's a lot more
mhm,
productive time rather than just going because you're supposed to when you turn
yeah,
18, right? And graduate
yeah,
from school.
yeah. And you need something to hold on to. That's part of getting out of the military. As you transition, you do need something to hold on to. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're holding on to, you have to find it. Whether it's school, religion, family, whatever it is that is important to you, you have to find it. And I would say find it before you get out. Because if you wait until you get out to find it and you never do, the transition is going to be really rough. So you have to have that anchor before you leave the military.
Yeah,
So
have a
even if
plan, right?
that's it, you got to have a plan. And I was so happy I had school, because being in a new environment, you know, it was tough. I think if I had stayed in Texas the whole time, I probably would have been good, because I had worked with people at the base where I, retired from. So I had that network, I had those people. But then I chose to leave, and then I didn't go home. So there was that. So the unicorn was by herself, but the unicorn found an anchor and used that anchor to her advantage. So that's the thing. Find an anchor and hold on to it as you transition out. You may not have that anchor forever, but at least you have something for a moment until you really get your groove.
Yeah, get in stride, and yeah,
Yeah.
makes total sense. Just
Hmm.
have some kind of plan, some kind of structure, like you say.
Yeah.
So I guess let me kind of then finish up with two questions here. Number one, what is the best piece of advice that you can offer someone who is retiring or being discharged from the military? What should they do first? What's the most important thing?
You have to plan for that exit. You have to have an exit strategy. And even if we say, well, I have a job with so and so company, that's not actually an exit strategy. That's just moving from your military occupation to another occupation. You have to have an exit strategy, and that includes finances. We know for sure when we're in the
Yeah.
military, we have a check. It's a given. But before you leave, it may be too late to have $200,000 in the bank, but it's not too late to start saving. So you need to have your finances together And I would say don't create new debts at all, because whatever job you're going into, it's not as steady as the military.
Yeah.
So don't create new debts. Have an
Mm.
exit plan that includes financial planning.
Yeah, that's great.
That's important.
It's great advice, because eventually once you get out, you're going to have to find housing, right? And to take advantage of that housing benefit, low debt to your income, have some
Yes.
savings for down payment and closing costs. You're going to have housing and food and, medical care and whatever
Yep.
else. So that's great advice. Okay. So my next question for you that we'll end with is, what is your ask for your business?
My ask for Emergent Life Skills is for everyone who's watching or hearing this podcast, is for you to visit my website. For one, that's the first thing. Visit my website, emergentlifeskills.com. See the services that I offer. After you do that, call your mom, your sister, your brother, your cousin, everybody you know, and tell them about the teen coach that is in Atlanta. Tell them all the stuff she offers. Also, talk to your school board and let them know that if their guidance counselors are too overwhelmed, that there are teen coaches, and there's one in particular in the Metro Atlanta area who is here, willing and able to help your kids with not just finding a career, but life skills for not just today, but for the future. That's my ask.
Great ask. Thank you so much for coming today. And like I said, it's so good to see your face again. I've missed all of you guys since the program ended, but so good to see you. Thanks again for coming on, and let's keep in touch. I want to have you back on later to see about your progress and hear more great stories.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate it. And I miss seeing you. I love your smile, and I miss talking to you.
Yeah. Well, call me anytime.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in. We're excited about helping ease your transition. If you're needing help or answers, please reach out. I would love to find an expert who can answer the questions in a future episode, or I can connect you with someone for more immediate help. We are here to serve you for a change. Don't be shy. My contact information is right here for you to use.